Little Red Riding Hood. There once was a sweet little girl who was loved by everyone who knew her, but most of all by her grandmother, who would have given the child anything. Once she gave her a little riding hood of red velvet. It suited her so well that she never wanted to wear anything else, and so everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day her mother said to her, "Come here, Little Red Riding Hood. Here are some cakes and a bottle of wine. Take them to your grandmother. She is weak and ill, and they will do her good. Go now before it gets hot, and walk properly and don't run, or you might fall and break the bottle, and then there would be nothing left for your grandmother. And when you go into her room, remember to say good morning instead of staring about the room." "I will be sure to take care," said Little Red Riding Hood, and she gave her mother her hand on it. The grandmother lived out in the wood, half an hour's walk from the village. When Little Red Riding Hood reached the wood, she met a wolf. She did not know what a wicked animal he was, and so she was not afraid of him. "Good day, Little Red Riding Hood," he said. "Thank you, Wolf," she answered. "Where are you going so early?" "To my grandmother's." "And what is under your apron?" "Cakes and wine, baked yesterday, and my grandmother is weak and ill, so they will do her good and make her strong again." "Where does your grandmother live, Little Red Riding Hood?" "A quarter-hour's walk from here. Her house stands under 3 oak trees, and you will know it by the hazel bushes," said Little Red Riding Hood. The wolf thought to himself, "This tender young thing would make a good mouthful. She will taste better than the old woman. I must find a way to get them both." So he walked along beside her for a while, and then he said, "Little Red Riding Hood, just look at the pretty flowers growing all around you. I don't think you're even listening to the birds singing. You march straight ahead as if you were going to school, when it is so lovely out here in the wood." Little Red Riding Hood looked around, and when she saw the sunlight dancing through the trees and the flowers growing everywhere, she thought, "If I bring my grandmother a fresh bunch of flowers, it would please her. It is still so early that I will get there in plenty of time." So she ran off into the wood looking for flowers, and every time she picked one, she saw a prettier one a little farther on and went after it. And so she went deeper and deeper into the wood. But the wolf went straight to the grandmother's house and knocked at the door. "Who's there?" "Little Red Riding Hood," he answered. "I have brought you some cake and wine. Open the door." "Lift the latch," called the grandmother. "I am too weak to get up." The wolf lifted the latch and the door swung open. He fell upon the grandmother and swallowed her whole without a word. Then he put on her clothes and her cap, climbed into her bed, and drew the curtains. Little Red Riding Hood, meanwhile, had been running around after flowers, and when she had gathered so many that she could hardly carry them, she remembered her grandmother and set off again. She was surprised to find the door standing open, and when she stepped inside, everything felt so strange that she thought, "Oh dear, how uneasy I feel, when I am so glad this morning to come to grandmother's." She called out, "Good morning," but there was no answer. She went to the bed and pulled back the curtains. There lay her grandmother with her cap pulled over her eyes, looking very odd. "Oh, grandmother, what big ears you have." "The better to hear you with." "Oh, grandmother, what big eyes you have." "The better to see you with." "Oh, grandmother, what big hands you have." "The better to grab you with." "But grandmother, what a terrible big mouth you have." "The better to eat you with." And the moment the wolf said it, he sprang out of the bed and swallowed poor Little Red Riding Hood. Then the wolf, with his hunger satisfied, lay back down in the bed and fell asleep, and began to snore very loudly. A huntsman was passing the house and thought, "How the old woman is snoring. I had better check to see that nothing is wrong with her." So he went into the room and when he came up to the bed, he saw the wolf lying there. "At last I've found you, you old sinner," he said. "I've been looking for you a long time." But then it occurred to him that the wolf might have swallowed the grandmother whole and that she might still be saved. So he did not fire, but took a pair of shears and began to cut open the wolf's belly. After a few snips, he could see Little Red Riding Hood inside, and after a few more, she jumped out crying, "Oh, I was so frightened. It was so dark inside the wolf." And then the old grandmother came out too, still alive and breathing. Little Red Riding Hood quickly fetched some big stones, and they filled the wolf's belly with them. When he woke up, he tried to run, but the stones were so heavy that he dropped down dead. All three of them were glad. The huntsman skinned the wolf and took the pelt home. The grandmother ate the cake and drank the wine and felt stronger. And Little Red Riding Hood said to herself that as long as she lived, she would never wander off into the wood alone again when her mother had told her not to, but would always do as her mother said. There is also a story of another time when Little Red Riding Hood was again taking cakes to her grandmother, and another wolf spoke to her and tried to get her to leave the path. But this time, she was on her guard. She walked straight on and told her grandmother that she had met a wolf and that he had wished her good day, but had such a wicked look in his eyes that if they had not been on the open road, he would have eaten her. "Come," said the grandmother. "We will shut the door so he cannot get in." Soon after, the wolf knocked and called out, "Open the door, grandmother. It is Little Red Riding Hood, and I have brought you some cakes." But they stayed quiet and did not open the door. So the wicked thing slunk past the house and at last climbed onto the roof, meaning to wait until Little Red Riding Hood went home in the evening, and then to spring down on her and eat her in the dark. But the grandmother saw what he was planning. There was a big stone trough in front of the house, and she said to the child, "Take the bucket, Little Red Riding Hood. I boiled sausages yesterday, so carry the water I cooked them in and pour it into the trough." Little Red Riding Hood carried water until the great trough was full. The smell of the sausages drifted up to the wolf. He sniffed it up, looked around, and stretched his neck so far that he lost his balance and began to slip. He slipped off the roof straight down into the trough and drowned. And Little Red Riding Hood walked home happily, and no one ever did her any harm.